Okay, so we're about to jump into one of the most incredible stories from the book of Genesis. It is just this amazing narrative about family betrayal, a wild reversal of fortune, and ultimately an act of forgiveness so profound it's been talked about for centuries.
Just think about this number for a second. 22 years. That is how long it has been since Joseph last saw his brothers. Over 2 decades since they literally sold him into slavery and told their father he was dead. This wasn't just a falling out. This was a lifetime of silence, of suffering, of being completely cut off.
And what a lifetime it's been. I mean, the contrast here is just staggering. The last time they saw him, he was just a teenager, their brother, helpless as they sold him away. Now, he's the governor of Egypt, basically the second most powerful man in the known world. They're about to come face to face, and the tables haven't just turned, they've been completely flipped upside down.
So here's the scene. There's this terrible famine sweeping across the land, and it forces Joseph's brothers to travel to Egypt, essentially begging for food to survive. And who do they have to make their case to? Yup, the very brother they betrayed all those years ago. They are literally bowing down to him, and they have absolutely no idea who he is. You can just feel the tension.
And this brings us right to the heart of the whole conflict. Joseph now has absolute, total power over the man who completely destroyed his life. Revenge would be so easy. And, you could argue it would be completely understandable, right? So what's he going to do? Well, instead of choosing vengeance, Joseph goes down a totally different path. And this choice, right here, is the moral core of the entire story. It's a decision that shifts the whole narrative away from payback and toward reconciliation. Which, of course, leads to the big question. How? After everything he'd been through, the betrayal, being falsely accused, rotting in prison, how on earth did he find the strength to forgive something so terrible? Well, it seems like everything hinged on his perspective. He somehow managed to see beyond the raw human pain of the betrayal to a much, much bigger picture. He came to believe that a divine hand was at work, somehow using his own suffering as the very thing that would save his entire family. So his focus wasn't on the past injury anymore, it was on the present opportunity to heal and to restore his family. And that perspective is really the story's main theological pivot point. See, it's not just about one man's incredible ability to forgive, it's about this huge idea of finding a divine purpose even inside our deepest pain. And let's not forget just how deep that pain was. I mean, he was betrayed by his own blood, then he was unjustly accused, then he was thrown in a dungeon and just forgotten. Each step was a deeper dive into darkness. But from this new perspective, each one of those horrible steps was also leading him to the one place where he could save them all. Joseph eventually says this to his brothers, and it just reframes everything. He looks right at them and acknowledges their intent. He says, "Ye thought evil against me." He doesn't sugarcoat it. But then he delivers this incredible pivot. "But God meant it unto good."
Now, this interpretation goes even a step further. Some readings of the text present Joseph's life as more than just an inspiring story. They see it as a symbolic parallel, almost a foreshadowing of the life and the mission of Jesus Christ.
So what does that mean? How exactly does this parallel work? Well, there are several really specific comparisons that theologians point to that suggest this deeper symbolic connection between the two of them. And when you look at them side by side, the parallels are pretty striking. You see both Joseph and Jesus described as a beloved son. You see both of them betrayed and sold for pieces of silver. And this is the big one, both are seen as saviors. Joseph is literally sent ahead to save his family from physical starvation, while Jesus is sent to offer spiritual salvation. This whole idea of seeing an Old Testament figure as a type of Christ is a really important lens in Christian theology. It helps connect the entire biblical story together. Even that last point, Joseph providing literal bread to keep his family alive and Jesus being called the bread of life, it just reinforces that symbolic link. So to pull this all together, what does this story leave us with? Really, 3 huge ideas. First, that forgiveness is a powerful path to healing, not just for the one being forgiven, but maybe even more for the one doing the forgiving. Second, that even the worst suffering can, through a certain lens, be seen to have a divine purpose. And finally, that no matter how shattered a relationship is, reconciliation is never truly impossible. And that really leaves us with one last thought. Joseph's entire story turns on his ability
to see his life from a completely different perspective. Which kind of prompts us to ask ourselves, right? How might seeing our own challenges, our own pain, through a different lens totally transform what they mean for us?